Hello, my name is Ben Lin, and here's my AT3 Super Graphics for Social Change presentation video. Contents page. The theme I chose for this activity is Empowering Champions of the Future. Refine sketch. This is the sketch that I chose to develop out of the two sketches, and the style I'm going for here is a comic book like graffiti style. Design development. First, I went online to try to find an image that I wanted, but I couldn't. So I took a photo of myself instead and developed it in Photoshop. I first masked out the background using the selection and mask tool. Then I started stylizing the image. I duplicated the image into two layers, and I named one layer line art and the other color. I first worked on a line art layer, so I went into filter galleries and clicked on poster edges to make the lines. After that, I used threshold to make the image completely black and white. Uh, After that, I started working on the color layer. I use surface blur to blur the image a little bit, and then I use oil paint to create a paint-like effect, and then I went into filter galleries and clicked on cutout. I increased the brightness a little bit because I feel like the image is a little bit dark, and you can see that there's a lot of black dots on the image, so I used the eraser tool to erase the black dots on the line art layer. Number 11 is what it looks like after using the eraser tool. Uh, then I used the brush tool to make my eyes white and colored my lips. After that, I went into Illustrator and started working on the text. I chose a very bold font, and I used the pen tool to create the crack lines and use the shape builder tool to make the text into two separate shapes. I went and threw the text back into Photoshop, and I played around with the size and the placement so it looks like I'm holding up the text. Then I worked on the texture of the text. What I did was mostly the same as what I did to the image of me. I duplicated into two layers, one line art and one color. I worked on the line art, so I used filter galleries and chose poster edges, and then used threshold to make it black and white. For the color, I used oil paint, then I went to filter galleries and chose cutout. After that, I started working on the 3D effect. I chose the 3D tool, and first I created a new material preset and named the preset crack. I made the right text 3D first and added the texture, and then I decreased the depth to 120 pixels. I did the same thing to the left text, and number 30 is what it looks like after the 3D effect and the texture added. Then I started working on the slogan. I went online and tried to find fonts that might match my super graphic, and I found a font called Bomber's Dream, and it is a bold and graffiti hand drawn like font that I think might match the style. I tried out the Bomber's Dream font and also Arial Black font. In the end, I chose the Arial Black font because I think it reminds me of the I Want You poster, and also like the signs they hold up in protest, and the font feels very powerful and strong. And the slogan "Empowering Champions on the Future" is a very powerful message, and I feel like this font works really well. After that, I use the selection tool to select around my fingers, and I use the eraser tool to erase the parts that the text is covering up my fingers so that it will look like I'm holding the text up. I did it with the left hand also. After that, I started to make the lightning that is coming out of my eyes. I found an image of lightning online, and I erased out and I masked out the background, and I duplicated some lightning and put it on my eyes. Uh, After that, I created a blue outer glow, so that the lightning will pop. After that, I uh, made the glow of the eyes. I first used the soft round brush and made a really big blue circle. Then I added a smaller blue circle, and then I added a very small white circle. And I put this layer onto the eyes and chose a screen. I duplicated the glow to two eyes. And here is the final art. And here's what it looks like after the mock-up. I put the Hermes logo on the head of the truck. And here's my reflection statement. The first question is, what did you enjoy the most about your AT3 work? For me, I think I enjoy the most was the design development section. Uh, I really like the feeling of taking an idea and see it come to reality. And this is the first time I used the 3D effect in Photoshop. And at first I was a little bit scared, but the result came out great. So I was really happy and proud of myself. The second question is, what were, if any, difficulties that you experienced in AT3? Personally, I think the assignment was pretty smooth. Uh, Everything was going pretty well. Uh, if I had to say, uh, I think one of the difficulties was making the video, because I had to try a couple times to get the results that I wanted. But I think that's just what happens uh, when you make a video, so that's not a big problem. Honest critique. Are you happy with the super graphic you developed? I'm pretty happy with my final results. It's just like what I had in mind, and I think it represents Homie pretty well. Do you think your super graphic would intense people to support Homie? I think it will. I think my super graphic is a strong design and will definitely grab people's attention. And I think it conveys Homie's message pretty well. So I think it will help make people support the Homie store. If you could redo any part of the assignment, what do you think you would do differently? Uh, for me, I think I might change the font of the slogan, although I do think that it fits okay, but if I have the time, I think I will try to find a better font that fits my style a little bit better. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.